Okay, matching card game then. Sally and Beth are playing this card game, matching cards of equal value. So Sally matches card A with card D. So she's basically saying that sine 46 is sine 314. They're the same, okay? And then Bethan matches card E and card H, right? And she's saying those are the same as well, okay? Amazing. So, who's correct, right? Who's correct? And it says then you must sketch a graph to explain your answer. Okay, so you can't just sort of have a guess who's right. Okay, you've got to sketch a graph. So we've got to sketch a sine graph, isn't it? Because this is what it's on about, sine. Yeah. Trouble is, of course, you haven't got a calculator, right? It's a non-calculator paper, so you have to remember one or two things for the exam, right? So with a sine graph, you draw your axes, right? You draw your y-axis, and that's decent enough size, and then halfway down there, you draw your x-axis, okay? Now with your x-axis, get your ruler and get your scale, and if you've got enough room, what I would do is, right, draw a line that is about 12 centimeters, if there's enough room, right? The reason why is because I want to split this line up into 4 parts, okay? And I'm going to do every 3 centimeters here and draw a little dash, right? Every 3, little mark there, another 3, mark, another 3, mark, and then be done, right? If you haven't got enough room, just go every 2, right? Every 2 and so on, but every 3 is what I tend to do if you've got the room. What important with the scale then, right? The x-axis scale, when it comes to degrees, right? Now, if you think about degrees, the most important angles you learn are like 90 degrees, aren't they? 180 degrees, okay? When you do like right angle triangles, angles on a straight line and so on, they're really important, aren't they? So we're going up in 90s. So this will be 90 here, okay? That'll be 180. If you add another 90 on, yeah? If I add another 90 on, that'll be 270. And then add another 90 on, be 360. So you've got to remember that, right? For your scale, you've got to remember it's going up in 90s, okay? Don't go up in hundreds or tens or anything silly like that. Go up in 90s. 90, 180, 270, 360, and of course 0 here. The other thing you've got to remember is then your y scale, right? Now for a sine graph or cos graph, you always put the maximum there of 1 and then a minimum of -1. So it goes from -1 to 1. And the sine graph and the cos graph is just a wave, right? It's a wave. That's why it's called like the sine wave, right? And the cosine wave is also called. But even though they look the same, sine wave and cosine wave, one of them is shifted along a little bit, right? So they're not identical. And you have to be careful now, because if they ask you to draw a certain graph, in this case the sine graph, you've got to know now where to draw it, okay? What I always try and remember is sine 0 is 0. Okay, you're just going to have to remember that for the exam, right? Sine 0 is equal to 0, right? Just remember it. You're just going to have to remember that, because you're going to start there then, basically, for the sine graph, right? If you were asked to do the cos graph, right? Okay, if you were asked to do the cos graph, well, cos 0 is actually 1, right? So you start your cos graph at 1, right? But we're not asked to do that, are we? You asked to do the sine graph. So sine 0 is 0, you've got to remember it. And then you do your wave, right? So you do your wave. So we're going to go up, right? Until we get to 1, right? And it hits the maximum at 90 degrees, okay? Halfway along there, okay? And then we're going to go down. And when it gets to 180, it's going to be 0, okay? So you notice, I hope you notice why now I've done 90, 180, right? Because 90 is where it hits its max. 180 is where it goes through 0. 270 then, curves keep going. 270 is where it eats its minimum, okay? And -1. The graph isn't great, but it'll do. And then 360 then is where it's back at 0, okay? Brilliant. So there's my sine graph there. So all you've got to remember is sine 0 is 0, and then you can just do it, can't you? Okay, going building up in 90s. Okay, that's the easy way to remember it. Now let's start off with this person here. Who's this here? Was it Sally? I don't know, yeah, Sally, right, Sally. Sine 46 is sine 314. Let's have a look at what sine 46 is. If you think about it, 46 is going to be about there, isn't it? Okay, 46 is about halfway between 90, 0 and 90. So it's about there, isn't it? Okay, so that's 46. So if I read across there, if I draw a line across there, sine 46 is equal to that value there, whatever that is, right? I don't know what that is, 0 point something, right? It could be anything, 0.6, I don't know, right? That's what sine 46 is, right? Now let's see what else is equal to that value there. If we look at that line across there, this here, okay, this one here, right? This value here is also equal, okay? Because this value here is where the graph is equal to that point there, whatever that is. So then that value there is between 90 and 180. Now let's have a look at what Sally got. She got that. That's not between 90 and 180. So Sally must be wrong, right? Now let's look at Bethan, 44, right? She says 136. Let's look at sine 44. Now sine 44 is a little bit less, isn't it? So maybe, I don't know, it's about there. Okay, 44. Just draw a line across now. So it hits the graph there. So again, it's sort of like, well, it's not 180, but it's a bit less, isn't it, than 180? Well, she got 136. Does that make sense? Sine 44 is sine 136. So sine 44 there, sine 136. I agree. Yeah, that's about right, isn't it? That's where 136 is roughly going to be. It's certainly not 300 like Sally got. So I'm going to justify there that Bethan is correct. Okay. So yeah, that would be there about 136. And the sketch then is going to help you to actually explain, right? Bethan is correct. Okay, you can actually say see sketch, because I've explained everything in the sketch when I said that's 136. Okay, and you can say this is not 314. You can say that, right? You know, you're clear, and you're in the explanations.